What's up, guys? Welcome back to the fourth week of the Coughy Show. My name is Mike. I got Eric with me here again.
Happy Thursday.
So we'll start off with a new product we got in. I don't believe I've seen this anywhere else in the CBD industry yet. So we came up with a CBD Canagar with a friend out of Florida. So that's got 3.5 grams of our Caliber Farm CBD flower, and then it's got a half gram of CBD distillate, and then it's wrapped in a hemp leaf for a total of 1,035 milligrams. So that would be the strongest CBD product we have that's like a consumable like that. That's outside of, drinking a whole bottle of oil, which we do not encourage.
You'd be pretty sick then.
Yes.
It's a lot of oil at once.
I don't think I could drink a whole bottle of oil. So we'll start off with some hemp news. So builders are swapping cement for CBD, or I should say hemp, to reduce pollution, and you actually end up with a stronger product. So around the world, builders are putting modern twists into ancient construction methods. The Romans were doing this back in their day, using the plant's fibers in the mortar mix to hold up bridges. So this isn't really anything new. We're just kind of, history repeats itself, so we're getting back to it. And this guy's saying, this is a company out of Canada, and he's saying they've got more demand for these things than they can supply because everything's about reducing your carbon footprint right now, trying to do what we can to fix what we've screwed up in the environment for thousands of years now. So apparently cement makers are responsible for 7% of the global carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere every year. That's a lot.
Yeah, they say just by doing the hemp alone in a building, it can absorb 287 pounds of carbon dioxide, so it would sequester more greenhouse gases than it would emit during the production of it.
Yeah, and it's absorbing carbon dioxide while it's growing. I want to say hemp is like second behind trees, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it's nice because it says it'll also help insulate a home, and it's better in fires.
Yep. So Eric's going to run off and help a customer now. So apparently this was first developed in France about 30 years ago, hempcrete, and is started out with just being mixed with stone and lime to repair old houses, but now it's progressed into people building full-on homes in municipal buildings up to like 7 floors. So it's starting to make an impact on the concrete industry. So this guy's saying he's doing so good that he's planning on investing another $28 million to expand the production so that he can do 3.5 million bricks a year. And he's, of course, crediting his children with convincing him to go green after years of just doing normal commercial cement development. So it's cool to see our generation teaching the adults about these methods that again have been used for thousands of years, but we need a younger generation's guidance sometime to teach us that the things that we're doing aren't the best way to do it. So on to this is Santa Rosa Junior College. They're the first state college to offer a hemp cultivation program. So these kids have been being taught to grow wine grapes for 40 years now?
Yeah.
50 years.
Yep, 1970s,
Sorry,
about 50 years.
I don't math very good. So they're the first community college to do that, and they put seedlings into 365 acres back in July. That seems a little late to be planting.
Yeah.
Most farmers are starting in May, so that's a little weird. But they're saying at harvest they'll be worth up to 75 a piece, a value that would translate the crop into about 100,000 for a full acre. So these kids are growing some money.
They never make that on vegetables or wine grapes.
No. So this article goes on to say that the retail market for hemp-derived CBD is estimated at about $1 billion in 2019, and they're expecting it to be upwards of $7 billion in 2023. That's a pretty big jump, but I mean, we see new CBD products every day, and you see them going into, you know, new stores every day. Like, I even seen one today that apparently American Eagle has a lip balm now. And definitely read the labels on these products that you're buying before you purchase, because like we sell a CBD lip balm from our favorite CBD company, Fully Activated, and there's next to nothing in it. There's, you know, hemp, beeswax, and I'm not sure what else, but no chemicals.
Yeah.
You look at the label for the American Eagle stuff, and it's got all these words that I can't pronounce. So if I can't pronounce it, I'm just not going to use it.
It's like how much CBD really is actually in it.
Right. And in the article, they're talking about they did a cultivation snapshot, because the government's currently not really keeping statistics on this stuff. But they're saying Colorado has 80,000 licensed acres, and Kentucky's got 58,000 licensed acres. And you keep seeing these numbers like grow. We actually talk about these in another article, I believe. And they just keep not even doubling, they're like quadrupling.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, like hundreds of thousands, and that's like licensed. You have to think like people that, you know, do it on their own in legal states where they can just grow their own however many plants it may be.
Right. Yeah, these are just commercial farmers. And here's an article out of New York. So this guy's been gardening the farm that his grandfather bought the farm about 100 years ago. They started out with dairy cows, switched to vegetables like corn, watermelon, peppers, and tomatoes. And of course their mainstay is strawberries. But now he's getting into hemp. And this guy's like 77 years old.
Yeah, 79.
79, and he's come around to the hemp market, because ultimately it comes down to, you know, how much money can you make per acre, and, you know, the farmer's profits dwindle every year, it seems. So this is out of New York, and they're saying that so in 2017 they went from just being allowed to farm with educational institutions to allowing private farms and businesses. So last year there was 9 farms in New York that had permits to grow the plant. So far this year there were 20 permits issued in just that county, and nearly 500 statewide. So their program was at 30 acres in 2016, and let's see, now it's up to 20,000 acres. That's an insane jump. So this company actually turned it into kind of a tour thing. So they went from just having a farm to now they have a quote-unquote hemp weed maze. So they have like informational stops along the way that teach you about hemp and stuff like that. They host drum circles, do yoga, and sell their produce from the farm, as well as hemp coffee and teas along the way. So that's kind of cool. You're starting to see some of these traditional farm activities like you would see at like a pumpkin patch, moving into the hemp industry instead of just growing a crop. So they're making more of an activity around it. So we have another article out of New York. These guys are using drones to help them grow. So this guy's saying that his plants were pretty sick and he had a lot of leaves turning, but he was having trouble spraying them from a tractor because you just can't get it as accurate. So they're saying that the drone is more easy and effective. It's able to spray 3 acres of hemp in less than 20 minutes flight time. So that's also a lot of gas saved as well. So it's cool to see like technology we've come out with in the last few years being pushed into this industry as well. Like, who would have thought that just, you know, a helicopter could be used for farming? So they go on to tell you more statistics about growth in different states. So Oregon's leading the way with 51,000 acres. Montana's right behind them with 40,000. Then we've got Tennessee at 37,000. So those are the top right now. And let's see, the hemp acreage had a total of nearly 8,000 registered growers last year. So we'll move on to Baltimore. Apparently their restaurants are adding CBD to their menu. So food and drinks. So multiple restaurants are doing it, which is pretty cool. But as far as the FDA is concerned, it's illegal to add CBD to any sort of consumable like that in a restaurant, whether it's, you know, food or drink, which is kind of dumb to me because, you know, people are doing that outside of the restaurant. So, I mean, my personal perspective would be, why not just give people a, you know, water soluble if it's going into a drink as a little side, so it's like a shot you just add to your drink, and you give them something to mix it into. Not sure how well they're going to be able to mix it right there on site, but it's one way to skirt it and not deal with these people crying about you adding it to a drink before you give it to a customer. And it's funny because one of their main points in crying is the lack of dosage information, which they prevent us from giving people. We can't legally tell people how much to consume, along with, you know, we can't say that it's used to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any disease. It's just more legal hurdles that they create, and then they just, you know, compound on top of each other. It just doesn't make sense. And then, you know, the other concern I can relate to is, you know, how it's extracted, how it's tested, and how it's produced. A lot of these CBD products out here just blatantly lie on their labels. We've seen, you know, their package says that they have, say, 12 milligrams of CBD in the product, and then some news organization gets a hold of it, sends it off to a lab, and they realize that there's either none or, you know, less than 5 milligrams. So less than half of what they're saying on the label. So I can completely agree on that point. And then, you know, are they actually testing for pesticides and stuff? Because if they're lying about the CBD content, most likely they're lying about what pesticides and stuff like that were found in the product as well.
Yeah, I'd be concerned too if you're actually getting the right milligram that they say that it has in it. Because you never know unless you actually see it yourself.
Right. I'd almost be happier having a lower than advertised CBD content than you know, worrying about the pesticides and all that extra junk in there.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be more detrimental to your health.
Yeah, you never know, especially with like what they can use on plants, or if they're, you know, in a field that's got something else, that overspray that the wind carries away. You never know what could end up on it in nature.
Right.
Whether it be, you know, accidental or not.
Yeah, because hemp actually will absorb toxins from the ground. So it's not even just about what they're spraying on it, it's about what's in your soil. So the FDA is saying that they've asked local health departments to report these products to them so that they can, you know, mess with these people some more for no reason.
More money.
Right. But restaurant staffers, managers, and owners saying they consider CBD the wave of the future, and they're optimistic about its business potential. So another industry diving into CBD, just like we mentioned before, it seems like you You see CBD everywhere now.
Everywhere.
I've even seen the family video.
Mm-hmm.
They sell CBD. It's like they're hanging on by a thread, so they see this blooming industry, and it's somewhat cheap to get into depending on, you know, what products they pull into their stores. So they, you know, I don't blame them for taking an opportunity, but me personally, I wouldn't look to a video store for any sort of health supplement.
Definitely not. No. Popcorn and a movie, maybe. CBD and aspirin, no.
Right. Well, that's all we got for today. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a good week. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.